The dogs and I made it back to the cabin. Deer season starts in a couple of days. I usually like to come up a day or two ahead so get the cabin heated up, although it's almost 60 degrees out, so it doesn't feel like deer season. But the prediction is maybe some snow on Saturday, so we'll see. It should cool off anyway, so this would be kind of warm for sitting in the stands. I mean, it'd be nice for sitting, but if you did get something, you'd have to take care of it right away. But I got all the gear hauled in and the fire started. The cabin was a little cool, not too bad, but so I got a fire started and the fridge full and stuff put away in the sheds, and I still have some more organizing to do tomorrow, but the dogs right away find their sticks and chase each other and that, so it's kind of home sweet home for the puppies. So these boards that I just split in half will be put on top of this shed on the shingle side, and then so those will be screwed down over the shingles, and then the metal roofing will get screwed to that board so that it has something solid to fasten on to. And then we have the 2x4s on that addition part. We have to put a 1/2 inch strip on there to kind of level it off. So I'll wait till Steven comes. We got the track saw and a 4x8 sheet of plywood, so we'll rip some strips to go on top of those 2x4s and then put the roofing on if the weather cooperates. I'm taking off this trailer ball on the four-wheeler. It was last weekend when we had it out in the woods. It came off, which is not a good thing. So I bought some blue Loctite, and we're gonna put some of that on the threads. And hopefully that'll solve that issue. I took the Loctite inside the cabin to warm up since it had been sitting outside. Well, I got all of that pine split up and a little bit of the fresher balsam that I'd cut recently. So now I got to get this stacked up, and part of it's going to be for my neighbor next spring in Duluth who does the campfires, and then part of it I'll save the nicer pine. Maybe Stephen will use that to kind of get his sauna stove going, good hot bed of coals or that. So that's the next job, getting it stacked. Or I'm not going to stack all of it. Part of it I'll just pile up, but and maybe throw a tarp over it for the winter. But we'll get that part done and raked up and stuff. So that'll help open up the area so I can get at that maple a little bit during deer season here too. So they have a lot more energy than I do left right now. Well, here's the start of the 2022 deer season. Been on the stand almost an hour this morning. And didn't take long for the Canadian Jay to find me, but I forgot to bring out bread this morning for him. Not sure what kind of season we'll have this year, but didn't look very promising when we were out earlier checking deer stands and stuff as far as sign. After last season of nobody seeing any deer, it makes you wonder what the 2022 season will be like. Well, I just switched out the SD card on this trail camera. So when I get back to the cabin, we'll check and see if anything showed up. I think we put it out about 3 weeks ago. This spot right here, every fall, except last fall and now this fall, there's always been deer scrapes there. But nothing last year and this year. So this is a trail that runs by here. So we're finishing up day one. Nobody saw anything. Steven said he checked the SD card at his stand and there were no pictures on there. So that one we put out a week ago. So as we were kind of thinking, so far it's been a bleak opener. But it's only the first day. Day 2 on the deer stand. It's dark, dreary, and raining. So not the most enjoyable weather to be out. Although obviously it's above freezing since it's rain and not snow. Not sure we'll stay too long this morning. Especially when we checked 3 of the 4 trail cameras we have out here and there are no pictures of deer. 2 of the cameras were out what, 3.5 weeks, and one of them was a week. I've never seen anything like that before where you weren't at least seeing some does and fawns on your cameras. Most of them had buck pictures too, you know, in the dark in the evening and that, but this is turning out to be a very slow start of the 2022 deer season. There just doesn't seem to be much or any deer in the area. What a change from 2 years ago to now. Here's a secret. Well, we got the metal roofing on. Um, I left a tool at home that we could have used, the angle grinder, to cut off a little bit of metal on the other side that overhangs, but we temporarily fixed it. So at least for now, it's got metal on it. If it snows or rains, we're all good and covered. So the addition looks nice for whatever we decide to use it for, wood or other stuff we store outside. And yeah, that was a big job to get done this afternoon. So only one more outbuilding to put metal roof on and everything will be covered, so it'll be a lot more secure fire-wise and precipitation-wise. So yeah, glad to have this project almost done.
What you making?
Doing a pork loin roast in the Instant Pot. So browning it first. what a contrast this evening compared to last evening, last night, and this morning. We had crazy winds here. I mean, they must have been steady 20, 25 mile an hour with gusts up close to 40, I would guess. It was just absolutely crazy. So, as you might expect, I didn't want to go out in the woods and sit in a stand with those kinds of winds. Deer don't like to move anyway in the wind, and then the other part of that is you don't know if trees are going to be coming down in the woods. So it just felt right to stay in and that, and it was about mid-morning, late morning when the winds started dying down and that. So turned out to be a nice evening. I did get out in the woods. I was actually doing a little grouse hunting. Didn't see anything. And cutting out some trees that, were kind of in the way, getting to a couple of stands. So I did some of that this afternoon. And that, didn't see any deer sign or hear any shooting or anything. So it just seems like we're in for a very tough season this year. It's day 4 of the 2022 deer season, but my 3rd day out hunting. Yesterday I didn't go out because the winds were so incredibly crazy and strong in the morning. They did die off later in the late morning, early afternoon. And I was out then on trails and looking to maybe try and scare up a grouse. So I had the 28 gauge shotgun yesterday afternoon. I didn't see any grouse, but it was a nice afternoon to be in the woods. It was a beautiful night where it calmed down and the lake was like glass. And now this morning when I got up, the winds are back. I don't know if you can hear that in the camera, but I think it's probably steady at 9 or 10 miles an hour and gusts up over 20. So I'll hunt this morning and that. And then I think we're supposed to get some bad weather. Rain mixed with snow, possibly ice. Maybe by Friday evening or something. The forecast is to have 6 inches of snow and a 1/4 inch of ice, which won't be good. A little snow would help so we could see if there's anything around. Nobody has seen anything. I haven't seen any signs yet, scrapes or rubs or deer poop or anything in the woods. So as we were kind of expecting coming into the season, it's a tough area we're in right now. I think it's Thursday, and we just had a little break in the rain. It's been raining, well, yesterday, most of the day off and on, last night, this morning, and the wind's starting to pick up. It's still above freezing. It was 35 this morning. But the prediction looks pretty menacing, potentially. They're talking freezing rain maybe today, and then snow with anywheres from 6 to 10 inches by, I think, Friday morning, something like that. So needless to say, this isn't the best conditions for deer hunting under any circumstances, and the fact that we haven't seen any deer or sign makes it even more of a challenge, I guess. So I'm not going to go out there and sit in the stand in this kind of weather, and we'll see what this storm brings. You can't even really do much outside, you know, with the rain and the wind and stuff. So good thing I brought several books to read in case. I spent some time in the cabin, and we'll just see what comes of this potential storm. It might be an early end to deer season 2022 if things keep going the way they are. Well, it turned into a snow globe winter wonderland last night, and actually more this morning. Yesterday we had just steady rain. It would rain real hard, and then it would let up for a little while and rain again, and all day long, and then into the night, and then it started cooling off a little bit and turned into snow. So now we have enough to cover the ground. I mean, less than an inch at this point, but it's still lately snowing. And I decided not to go out on the stand again this morning. I'm waiting for Stephen and John to show up. They'll be here tonight. We'll have the weekend and that. So I'm going to try and get a couple little projects done here before more of the winter sets in. A couple things I want to get done here at the cabin. So I'll work on that this morning and stuff, and hopefully we'll get out there tomorrow and see some deer sign. At least you'll be able to tell if anything's been around by your stands. I need to put a new chain on here because when I used it last it got pretty dull because I was doing quite a bit of cutting of windfalls and that. So time to get a sharp one on there. Well, I got that pile of balsam logs cut up into firewood sections. We had intended to peel more of those, but didn't get to it this fall. And then the bugs were starting to get in them, and obviously we got lots of balsam yet to be cut. So next spring, if we need some more poles, we'll just cut some, and actually they'll be easier to peel too, because they'll be wet with spring sap coming up. So anyway, I'm gonna get the trailer on the four-wheeler and haul this on the other side of the power line where there's a bunch of balsam and that, and then this whole section will be opened up this winter for either more plowing or getting snow a little farther away and stuff. So that's why I wanted to get this done right now. This is the second Saturday of the 2022 deer season, and as you can see, the weather has changed here. During the middle of the week we had lots of rain, torrential rains, Wednesday, Thursday. Then it's switched to snow Thursday night and Friday, so there's about 1 inch of snow on the ground. And the temperature dropped. Today it was 19 degrees. But the sad part is, with the fresh snow, we're still not seeing any deer sign. No tracks or anything on the road coming in or walking into the stand. So there's 4 of us out today. We'll see what it looks like in 4 different spots, and if nobody's seeing any sign, I mean, we might just pull a pin and be done. So we'll see how the day goes. There's my little pal, just showed up. So actually I did bring some bread today, so since we're not seeing any deer, I might as well entertain myself with the birds.
Yeah, I mean, we can keep going.
ain't got to crank too much when it's ready.
Oh, that's a Jesus is an apple pie.
The what?
That's a Jesus.
Well,
Mmm.
This is what you do. You wake up and film people. Oh, yeah, get her. Get him. Get him.
so this one's gonna line up. Let me grab that piece of grass out of there. There's another pin in the back, and then this one here, these will go on the front once you drive it forward. So if you can get in the back. So since we're not out hunting, or kind of gave up on the 2022 deer season now, this is the second Sunday. We're organizing, getting ready for winter here at the cabin. And noticed this morning, although I think it happened yesterday, that the lake froze over. Now, I'm sure there's only, a half inch of ice, but it's totally froze over now. This morning it was 18 degrees, so it's obviously making ice. And yeah, sure sign of winter is here. So put these in the cabin, get them dried out, and put them away for the winter. Yesterday, I think you saw some video of us dropping these two balsams here. And this was the one I was most worried about. You can see it has some live wood, but then the center is all rotting out. And that's where the carpenter ants were starting to get in. So higher up you could see it more distinctly than in this piece. And then once the ants get in, then the woodpeckers start chipping at the wood and that to get at the ants. So I was concerned, that maybe this winter, heavy snow or something, that this tree might come down, and then you got the woodshed there, or vehicles parked or whatever. So my friend Dan was here, and we got these two down. This one was still solid, but the green part was eaten pretty heavily by the spruce budworm, so it was going to die anyway. So we just went ahead and took that one down also. And then I cleaned it up yesterday and hauled the branches out and got some wood sections over there that I'll cut into firewood next spring or whatever. So that's kind of the life of our forest right now, with the spruce budworm and the balsam, and then it becomes a fire hazard and blowdown hazard and that. So I guess we were just being a little bit proactive and taking these trees down. Well, I'm packing up the cabin. It's Monday. Actually, it would be the start of the second week of deer hunting. But as you probably will see in some of this video, when we're out in the woods, there's absolutely no sign of deer tracks, rubs, scrapes, anything, even with the snow. We saw nothing. And I've never seen anything like that before. We've had some tough winters up here, and I think predation has also contributed to it, but probably winters more than predation possibly. We didn't even see tracks of wolves, so I think because the deer have either died off or moved off, um, there doesn't appear to be much for wolf activity also when there's no food for them to eat as well. So I have mixed feelings about leaving. Obviously, it's fun to be up here with friends and family. It's enjoyable to be out in the woods. It's not always about harvesting an animal. In fact, it's been several years since we've taken a deer out of here. But it just didn't seem to pay, to spend any time on the stands any longer. So Stephen and John headed out yesterday. I finished packing up camp today, so I got to load stuff up now and head out. But as always, I mean, it's still enjoyable to be up here, be out in the woods, have the dogs here, have friends here. We got a few projects done here at the cabin. I've got pretty much everything ready for winter now to come up a few times this winter, hopefully, which will be snow removal mostly and stuff. But anyway, I want to thank you for following along on the 2022 deer season. Not a lot to report, but in many ways there still is a lot to report. Like I say, there's many reasons to be up here, and hunting is just one of them. So we thank you for watching. Please subscribe or share us with your friends and family. So thanks again, and hopefully 2023 deer season will have something a little more appealing, but it may take a while to get deer back in the area. So anyway, have a safe winter, and we'll see you on the next video.
I am the John. I speak for the trees.